quality of time spending. As a YouTuber, I'm in this weird position where you want to record every moment, but you still want to be present.
I know exactly.
And
what you're saying.
I find this so difficult to kind of balance. So actually, the reason I make like explainer videos is so that I can do those videos all by myself. And then if I want to go out and experience something, I actually make a point to not record or take pictures because I just want to experience it. So like if I see a cool sunrise, I try my best to not take out my phone and take a picture of it, like to capture the memory, because I just want to live in the moment.
Dude,
I think it's a more beautiful way to live, because actually I'm gonna tie this back into your whole the memories is the currency of the soul.
Yeah.
Yes, because yes, you can have a lot of pictures of cool memories, but it's also kind of cool to just only have them as memories and then maybe tell them as stories.
Bro, I was just thinking, because I cut you off in supply and demand. You could even apply this to your photos, because if you have 1 million photos and videos of everything you did,
oh my gosh,
well then it's not as valuable, because you just have so much of it that it's not as rare.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone's had a moment in their life where they couldn't capture something on video, whether some random firework blew up or they saw a snake kill a squirrel, and they're like, dude, remember that time we all saw the snake kill a squirrel? And all you can do is have the memory and tell the story. And in one sense, you wish you had a friggin' video that you could show someone.
Yeah.
But in another sense, it's really beautiful, because it's a story, and stories tend to grow with people's imaginations. So
that is true, yeah.
When I'm telling you the story of me running through the airport, and I can't explain this for context to the audience, but I ran through
that would have to be a whole other podcast on it.
Which it is a whole podcast.
Yeah.
But I remember looking back and I was like, dude, I wish I had vlogged a little bit of those moments, because it would have been so much better for the video I'm gonna make. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I've probably made it so cool in the way I tell the story and the way I explain it that maybe it's just better that I don't have.
Yeah.
Going off that though, I had the exact same thing. I was a vlogger. So vloggers like record your life.
Yeah.
And since I've been with you, I've been vlogging. So maybe you felt even the same way about me. But another huge reason I switched to the podcast is because if you think about the media outlet of vlogging versus the media outlet of podcasting, I felt like vlogging a lot of times took me out of presence, where I would have to focus on my on creating content in the future and what the video is going to look like.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt the opposite with podcasting, which is I felt podcasting a lot of times brought me into presence, where we were just sitting in this car, not podcasting, but we weren't having as present of a conversation as we're having now.
Yeah.
And so that's something I really like about it. But I don't think it's so straight edged that it's always one way or the other, that you can find workarounds, like how you said, all right, I didn't necessarily like vlogging car reviews, but I sat down and I do feel this as well. And so I'm trying a new kind of vlogging format, and it's really heavily inspired by the Creator Camp people and what Chris Duncan is doing with the Creator Camp vlogs.
Yeah.
Where essentially you record a little bit of stuff of your life and interactions, but the meat of the video is you sitting in nature, voicing it over. So you go in your private time, sit and record a voiceover, and then the voiceover is paired with music, which you can all do in your private time.
Yeah.
And then you basically just loop the footage over it. So that would look like maybe I'm telling the crazy story of how this stranger from Alabama picked me up and we went and I had this crazy memory at base camp, and I'm telling all of that from my backyard or some spot in the woods, and then I'm just layering over footage of when we went to the volcano and stuff. And I've made a couple vlogs in that format and I've liked it. I need to do it more to see, but that is a really interesting thing you brought up. And it's really hard, because I'm very passionate about content creating, but I also hate just being the kid who's always on his phone or always on his camera. So
Yeah.
it kind of pulls you into.
It might also be like a little bit of like social pressures. Like you don't want to be that guy who really stands out because they're recording everything with a camera.
Yeah.
It's kind of, for some reason, there's always there's a little bit of desire to just kind of not be the center of attention at all points. And the thing with vlogging is you have to be the center of attention at all points.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not actually.
Well,
I'm gonna go back on that
Yeah.
because if you look at like David Dobrik's vlogs,
Yeah.
he wasn't really the center of attention. Everyone else who he was with was the center of attention, and he just pointed his camera at things.
I was actually going to go as far as say soul wealth. I'm going to say the more selfless you can be, the better your videos will be. Not in every case. Like we could talk about Casey Neistat where his videos are pretty much just him.
Yeah.
But I think for vlogging, it's better to be more selfless. There's a list of pros and cons. The pros are the pros of forcing the spotlight on other people is you're gonna make other people way more inclined to wanting to be on your vlog, wanting to perform. Whereas you can see that with David Dobrik, all his friends were eager to make the next joke or eager to do the next crazy thing because they're getting a spotlight on his massive channel.
Yeah.
And so that is a really good dynamic to create. The bad part is more in the beginning, it's very hard to entrust your creative vision with other people. Like you have a way you want the video to go and you want people to perform to that, and that's hard. So I think it works so well with David because he's with the same people for years. So they're getting the gist as he is also creating the vision, and it's just exponentially getting better because everyone knows their roles, almost like a TV show.
Yeah.
Whereas me showing up at this random event, I would love to record everyone and give them the spotlight, and I probably do have a little bit of an advantage of the fact that everyone here is creators.
Yeah.
But if no one here were creators and I was just showing up to a random event, that would be really hard to give everyone the spotlight because they don't know me, they don't know my vision, they're not creators. And so taking that all into account is interesting. Another really fascinating point with this about how you don't want to be the person with their camera. I have a really good friend, Serafina, and she walks around with a camcorder, an old camcorder that flips out like this, and it records the footage in grainy old footage.
Yeah.
And she started doing that because she liked the way it looked for her vlog and to put some old film footage. But what she found out is that people were way more inclined to being filmed with that camera because it felt special. Whereas, like, if you take out an iPhone, it's just like, oh, another kid filming on their iPhone.
Supply and demand.
Oh, this is a freaking supply and demand of life episode. But, and dude, you can make the same comparison when people take out a Polaroid. I have a Polaroid that I use for every podcast.
That is more special. Yeah.
Everyone
way more special.
If you ask someone, you want a picture right now, I mean, maybe yes or no. But if you ask them if they want a Polaroid, it's extremely rare that anyone would turn down a Polaroid.
Yeah.
So that is...
I think it's also the fact that it's not a digital photo.
Yes.
Because, like, if you just take a picture on your phone, it's on their phone. They have it with them at all times. But it's not like when you have a physical picture of it, you know it's a special something because you had to go and actually print the picture. You had to go to a Walgreens or a CVS or something. You had to get the picture printed and you had to put it up on your wall. And then you get to see it every day you're in your room or wherever you put it up. And that has a little bit more like, you know, it means a little bit more to them rather than just a JPEG file on their phone.
Yeah, dude, all of me just wants to bring it back to supply and demand. I know the audience gets to the point, but dude, long. I've always liked Polaroids though, because Polaroids feel like memories. So my old catchphrase was create a memory, and my new catchphrase is soul wealth.
Yeah.
But I think with both of those being focused on memories and relationships, something about Polaroids just like, they just feel like memories.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. When you look at a video or a photo on your camera roll on an iPhone, it can incite a memory, much as a song can incite a memory. But Something about a Polaroid just does it for me.
Yeah. Man.
And that was a big climax. We were on a roll.
We were on one hell of a roll. Goodness gracious.